Hey guys, welcome back out to the garage. I just thought I'd show a couple more upcoming jobs. These are going to be a little bit kind of unique in a way, or a little challenging or different, and I'll explain why. These are two 351 Cleveland blocks, okay? Two of the 335 series. I picked these up in Florida from Mike. One of these, this block here is his build, and then this one here is actually for Sean, both out of Florida. Okay, but what's going to be a little different about these is they've already been machined. You can see they're really clean, so they've already been through the cleaning process, and they've been machined. Not cleaned to build, but cleaned and then machined. And but now but there were changes. Okay, there was original plans. Okay, at one time, but those plans have changed. So with those change of plans, now you got to kind of be on your toes a little bit, and this is why. Um, Mike's block originally was going to take the old school, like what I have in this thing too, the old, more of the flat top, the TRW, pistons, stock rods. Okay, just a nice build of what he was going to do. Okay, and so before I got there to pick these up, he also already checked to see how the deck height was, because his machine, I don't remember how the whole story went, because it's been several months now, but the machinist had to cut so much off one side and a little different on the other side due to rust or something. Okay, there was something, so he went ahead and put 4-corner piston in to see what the deck height was versus the piston. Okay, if these were out or in or whatever, at top dead center. Well, on this side, he wrote 28 thousandths. So the piston set down 28 thousandths on this side. On this side, he wrote 20 thousandths. So it sits 20. Okay, not a big deal. Now that I know that, I was probably going to go ahead and check it myself, and I know how much to deck off and just bring them both even or close to zero. I like to kind of sometimes go 5 under, and that way you have a little bit of room for air if there's something just freaky and you need to take a little bit more off for whatever reason. Or you just go 0. A lot of my stuff I actually hang out, all my personal stuff. I actually like the stuff hanging out. But anyway, so that's not a big deal there either. But here it is. Here's the trick. He's not using these now. Okay? So was this block bored of these pistons? I don't know. These pistons now are going in Sean's block. Okay? And this has been bored and decked and honed. And to what pistons, I don't know, because it's the only set of pistons that was given to me when I picked these blocks up. Okay, so these are now going to Sean's. And so that means I'm going to have to now check all this to make sure all this, we don't know what clearances they put in it, okay? So this one now, they both have OEM cranks, except now we went with the 377 on this one. So I offset ground the 4MA crank, which is the OEM stock Cleveland crank. I offset ground it. So it's got 200-inch more arm in it. 200 thousandths more arm in it. A different length rod. I went with a 5.7 rod, and these are 5.7/8-ohs. Okay, so went with a little different rod, and went with a new DSS piston, which has a completely different pin height than this. So now I have to make sure, my clearances, because it's already been bored to these, and hopefully I can make it happen with the new setup. And so I already have that new rotate assembly. over Steve's. Okay, he's like 20 minutes from here. That's where I do my balancing. Okay, so I already took the road, or I'd be showing you the pistons if it was here, the rods and everything. But I already took that to the balancing area. So now I'm gonna have to mock this all up again with the new setup. So all these numbers, everything's gonna be different. Okay. Now the problem is these are used pistons, but this has all been bored and honed. Okay, usually when I go with a used piston, I would bore the piston, more or less, because the skirts can be a little different now. These are ran, and now I need to bore. Well, they look like they were ran. I shouldn't even. Let me look. Let me look at a different one. This is actually really clean. This one is. Yeah, they've been. Yeah, they've been ran. They're just cleaned up. So, well, either way, these were originally with this block. So now I'm gonna need to bore. I mean, Mike each piston and fit them to the best one here, and that piston needs to go in that hole because of clearance reasons. Okay, and so we have to try to square it all up, if that makes any sense at all. If they wouldn't have honed it, then I could, and just bored it, and these wouldn't go all the way in, then I could have, it would have been a little easier. But if they don't have as much clearance as we want, that could be a plus, because now I can go in there and I can power hone the cylinders and get it more to the piston. Okay, so kind of a mismatch little setup between these two guys here. So his is a completely different rotate assembly now, so all that figuring here didn't matter, and it's bored to a whole different, it wasn't bored to the new pistons or anything. So that's the deal here. This one, again, it's already bored and honed. Normally we try to bore it to the piston that we're gonna, usually we get the piston first. Mike and everything know what we're gonna bore it to. Okay, so that's gonna be a little bit of a, not a big deal, but it's something we have to really concentrate and think about as we're doing this. Okay, so that's the deal there. And basically all I'm doing is and this one, of course, is, like I say, is offset grind. This one, the crank, has been ran. It's a 20-30. It's 20 on the mains, 30 on the rods, but it doesn't need to be ground again, but it does need to be polished. So I will be polishing the crank on this one. So I still got to get, the bearings and stuff for this, and I still got to get a couple few items for both of these builds. But they're not gonna be, that's the thing there, they're not gonna actually be builds either. They're just mock-ups. All they want me to do, is the way I understood it, is just mock them up, make sure all the clearances are good, make sure everything's gonna work, the whole thing, and then basically give all that back to them, and Mike's gonna build the engines. Okay? So basically it's kind of like a, just assemble them, check everything, and then turn right back down. Or I can carry them that way, and I'll just leave them like that, and then he can take them back apart or whatever, clean, do what he has to do the final clean, and then assemble the engines. Unless something changes, he might call and say, go ahead and just keep them short blocked or whatever. Okay, I do have the cylinder heads, so the cylinder heads are gonna have to be set up for the cams. Okay, this has got a nice little flat tappet in it. This one went with a mechanical roller. So the heads are going to be set up differently because one's going to have more spring than the other one and this and that. But they're both iron 4V cylinder heads, okay? This one's going to be running a strip dominator, which we're thinking about putting maybe my runner extensions that you might have seen me do in the old videos on the old YouTube in the plenum. This is going to get the Wien, okay? The Wien, I guess that's how you can pronounce it. Wien accelerator is what this one's getting. This is going to be a street, just basically a mild street build. This will be You know, he's hoping for like, you know, at least 600 horse deal, street car, but it's not gonna be like a daily driver type deal, more of a show and go type deal. So that's this one. Now, um, I did notice the cam bearings are still in this one. So when they did all that cleaning and they look like it went through a bake oven and everything, they actually left the cam bearings in. So I gotta make sure those are out. So I'm sure it might have stuff, you know, maybe inside the galley or whatever. So I do have, and again, I'm not actually doing the final clean because he just wants me to mock it up. But if I ended up short blocking, of course, I'll be doing the final clean and everything. But they'll make sure they're clean enough to do a mock-up also, because you still gotta have them clean, because you don't want to knock nothing into the bearing as you're mocking it up. This one, the cam bearings are out, everything's out. But what I noticed on this one, and I'll move the camera up here, maybe they were just fitting something, I don't know. I'm not really sure. And so hopefully these are the correct caps. This is a 4-bolt main. This is a 2-bolt main. So I know this didn't get switched this way, okay? But what I noticed on this engine, again, they might have been fitting something. But on this rear main, the 5th rear main cap, okay, there's there it is. There's a rubber, you see you got your rubber seal or neoprene seal in there, okay? No biggie. And the pin was knocked out, okay? So that's a good sign. So they knocked the pin out and they went with a later style rear main seal. But still has the rope seal in here, look at that. Still has the original rope seal. So it kind of threw me for a loop what was going on there, okay? Because these came with rope seals, so that's fine also. But the cap had the pin knocked out and the rubber seal. So maybe they were just fitting. Maybe they were just doing something. But that kind of threw me off. I was thinking, hey, I hope it's the right main caps, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to check all that for sure. So this here will be 357 inches. This is going to be 377 inches. And basically, that's kind of what the deal is on these. It's just all about mocking them up, checking everything, making everything's cool, and then they'll do the builds. As of right now, that's the way it stands, okay? Even gear drives, they're both going gear drive. So I got to make sure that gear drive is set up good, you know, and make sure that's all gonna work properly, putting that together, those together, and then take it all back apart, okay? And then they'll get it all back. So, but again, with the changes of the pistons and the blocks already being machined, see, if I would have machined the blocks and I had all the parts, then I can machine the block, then I would feel, you know, I would be comfortable. I mean, I'm comfortable now, but if these are loose, let's say the cylinders are actually too loose for, especially this guy, because this one may not be, because the aftermarket pistons that we used can actually take a little more clearance. And the way he's wanting it set up, I have no problem giving it more clearance. But this one running a used piston and not knowing what they bored it to, that might get a little different. So there may be a change. And the other little deal with that setup is it's already been balanced. See, all that ran supposedly, I guess, in this block or whatever. It was a balanced rotated assembly already. It's already been balanced a long time ago, and it's already been driven and the whole thing. But now we're switching over, so I got to rebalance it because the crank. We got different flex plate now. It was, I don't know what he was running before, but now it's an FMX, so it's a whole different setup there, different balancer. So we got to rebalance it, but they're press fit, and I don't like pressing them off to balance it. But I do have, well, actually Steve designed this little fixture, little tool, so that we can actually still do it with the piston on the rod and get the weights we need. And it gets, I mean, it's pretty cool, okay? So, but it's time consuming, all right? And if we have to make any changes to that, that means now you're trying to lighten the piston, let's say, but with the rod in the way while you're trying to go, depending on how you go about doing your lighting of the pistons. Same with the rods. What if we have to do something to the small end? You can't get up in there with the piston on there. So that's the only kind of down deal with that also. So both of these right here is not going to just be a, you know, a repetitionist type deal where we bore them, we home, we do this, we do that, you know, it's clean, and that's start the assembly and all that. I'm gonna have to make sure I'm, you know, mind my P's and Q's or whatever, because it's already machined, it's already been done. And well, I had another little thing I wanted to show, but I'm gonna save that for a different video. And anyway, and these are real sharp, so they didn't even taper them. This one they did, I think, but this one they didn't. So, which is fine because we may end up taking more off. But normally with the 377s and the pistons that he's chosen, they usually already come out zero deck without even machining this. So without knowing how much the machine shop actually already took off, he may already have the pistons out of the hole a little bit. And we may have to go with a thicker head gasket depending on what compression he's wanting to stay with. So, and they're off by, this is 28 and this is 20, that's 8 thousandths. So they're off by 8 thousandths between these. So anyway, I thought I'd just kind of give you an idea of what I have going on these two builds. Okay, because like I told you in the earlier video, three videos or 4 videos ago, I have lots going on, okay, and I want to start showing everything here on the YouTube. I mean, I have a whole stack over there, okay, and so, so anyway, these, that's where I stand on these, okay. I do have most of the majority of the parts for these, but I just got to get a few things to get the mock-up, like the bearings for this one. I got the bearings for this, but I need to get the bearings for this one then before I can do any farther. But I can like polish the crank and stuff like that. But I can't mock it up really as far as putting the pistons in and doing any of that yet until I get the bearings. So that's where I stand on these two builds. So the small block Chevy, so I still gotta sleeve this. Sleeve should be in anytime. I just want to get that sleeve, get that one bored and honed to that little piston I showed the other day, that little short piston, then that's out the door. I got the heads tore down yesterday on the small block Chevy. I'm gonna get a hold of him and see about, you know, getting some of the stuff we might need, and I could probably get that one finished up, you know, in a timely manner there, and then I still gotta balance this, still gotta get some parts for this one. So while I'm waiting on this stuff, I can jump on that one. Then we'll move on to who's ever sitting over there next. I kind of redid things and put them in order, put their names. And you can see how I put their names on all the blocks now, and then kind of laid them out. I had to double stack them, two wide, 2 up to make room in the garage. And then I have kind of in order who's I'm gonna grab next, okay? So we still got a long way to go. So this whole year I'm gonna be pretty much busy. And so anyway, and that's not counting all the cylinder head work. It has to go with all these builds. So I still gotta do a lot of machine work on the cylinder heads because most of these engines are gonna go adjustable, which is guide plates and studs. And they're all non-adjustable. All the heads, not all of them, but so far the heads I have right now to do for most of these builds, 80% of them is non-adjustable, and they're all going adjustable. So I have to machine all that and everything. So that's on top of the valve job and the spring pocket. So there's a lot of work, a lot of stuff I'm going to be showing. And I'm going to throw in some other stuff that has nothing maybe to do with builds, cause just like informational stuff or just other stuff that'll help some of the do-it-yourself guys and everything, I want to show a few, little things that maybe they can do themselves. And I still got porting. I still got to finish that one challenge thing. So I'm slowly, every once in a while, trying to hit that, And anyway, you see where I'm coming from. So that's the thing there. So these two guys right here, as soon as I get the parts, we'll be mocking them up together. Get it all mocked up. Once it's mocked up, then they can have them. Okay, so. But the heads, I still got to do that, and I still got to get the parts and the springs and everything for the heads. I still got to figure out all of that. So it is still going to be a little bit, but we are moving forward. All right, guys. Hope I didn't blabber too much on all that. But I just want to make another video, keep everybody, informed what's going on over here in Boss Performance Garage. So that's that. All right. As always, you guys stay safe out there. Thanks.